will be joined by a guest, which I'm going to introduce in due time. But let's wait for other people to come in and enjoy the music in the process. God bless you. We love you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for those that joined us, for those that still want to join us. Today, we are touching on one of the most anticipated topics that we had, and I'm going to open with prayer just now, but I'm excited that finally is here. And really, indeed, a few weeks back, somebody said that the winners don't quit, the quitters never win. So we actually persisted to have this segment that I'm about to bring to you, broadcasted, because we tried many a times and we failed due to connectivity and all the other issues. But in due time, I'm gonna introduce our high-profile guest, this evening, and thank God. Thank God for keeping us safe, for God for being with us, and God for enlightening us. And most importantly, the fact that you're alive, the fact that you're still here this evening, it means that God still has a purpose with your life. So let's thank God before we do anything in this ministry. We call upon God. Even if today it's not a preaching time, but whenever we get time to thank God, to reflect and look back at what God has done for us, we thank Him. So I'll dance. God, thank you very much this evening, Lord. We really thank you, man, amazing God. You've been God that never ceases to surprise us. You surpassed all expectations we had. God, you've been wonderful. We ask you today as we come together and teach one another and teach your nation, God. Those that believe in you and those that don't believe. Those that focused your life in you and those that still want to focus your life in you, God. We still thank them, and most importantly, God, we thank you for keeping us safe. We thank you through all the storms. We become victorious in your name. We become safe under your wings, Lord. So we ask you to be with us as we teach, God, so that our teaching can remain in people's heart. And most importantly, people later on in life can apply them, and later on they can share with other people, God. That's how we learn. We learn because we're taught, and we succeed because we're teaching others. We ask you and we thank you, humble ourselves dearly under your name. In Jesus Christ we pray, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening for those that just joined us. This is Dr. Kekana. This is Pastor Kekana. Abani J, they tend to call me David. But you know how I introduce myself. This evening, I have now one of our regular faces now. Ladies and gentlemen, we had to fish and fish and fish and fish. So that we win. We had to fish. Bishop, where to fish, reverend, where to fish, they say, this man, I can't even introduce himself. Sometimes the people we bring here, I'm going to ask him to introduce himself. The people we bring here, sometimes they make me feel like I haven't done anything. People have been working hard, and what I like is that they've been working hard, trusting and dedicating their life to God. It shows that God can really do much for us. So let me introduce to you none other than Reverend Wisdom Banda. I call him Say. He's also called Say by other people as well. And we're delighted to be joined by him again. So today we'll be dealing with a certain topic. But before, I want him to greet you, to introduce himself the way he would feel he deserves to be introduced, because I don't want to play him small, or I don't want to underrate his work. I want him to introduce himself. He's one of the faces that we go to. We had to fish, ladies and gentlemen. He stays somewhere just like me under the tree. The difference is that I have a network. He has a network problem from it all. Bishop, introduce yourself and the viewers before we tell them what we're going to be doing for them. And thank you very much for availing yourself. I really appreciate it.
Good evening, good evening, Pastor Kekana. Good evening, and good evening to the viewers. It's a very, very wonderful time. Well, you said I must introduce myself. I am Sir Wisdom N. Banda, specializing in leadership. I'm a leadership and business strategist, and also a human potential expert, which I'll be able to explain more as we dive into this ocean of wisdom to explain exactly what is my nature of work, my assignment, and also what I was born to do. Thank you so very much. That's a short intro I can give, because maybe it might take us the whole day just giving an intro, but let's stop there.
I know. There is the mother of mine, somewhere in GP, who said, this man is quite good. And that's how he also spoke. Give him a chance, Mtanan, with this network is, he's quite good, because he knows that I like things happen, actually, and we thank you today for being here. Today we're going to be talking about renewing, reset your mindset. It's something that, you send us some clips, we play them, and we need it more, because we sometimes it's indeed our mindset that contributes a lot to our success or our failure. It is indeed sometimes, but I want to hear from you, give it to us and then we listen. So let me encourage the viewers this evening that if you have questions, ask comments, as you come in, just greet us, we'll spawn what you are there. We're using multiple streams. So if you greet us, we know from which stream you are streaming from. From here, we can see different streams. Wherever you are, you're tuning from a different stream, and you're seeing the number of people that are other people that are counted for in another stream. So as you greet us, not just come in and greet us, so we can see you're streaming from where. But we are all live on Facebook, Instagram, and we're also live on YouTube. So get down to it, let's see. I must say, the previous times that you were with us, I've learned quite a lot. And I can add that you are poetic at some point. The little one say you rhyme, things. So you rhyme quite well. So I've learned so much, with your rhymes as well. But there's more wisdom to it, I must tell you. That's why I know that if you don't pray, you become a prey.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So over to you. Reset your mindset, blow us away. I'll be asking you questions there and there, but I want you to do it the way you want to do it, the way you must talk to us as if we've never had this before. Most people have never had this before. I've never had it before you even spoke to us about it. So teach us from the basics. Take us from the basics. Here we are not only catering for professionals. We're catering for anybody, whoever from all walks of life. So teach us as if we've never had this before, so we can have a broad understanding, so that when we apply this in our lives, it becomes clear. Over to you, Sid.
Thank you very much, sir. We are looking at Reset Your Mindset, Part 1. Reset Your Mindset, Part 1. Now, if you look at the word reset, it means to set again, and talk about mindset, talking about the power of the mind. So this evening, we'll be focusing on the importance of you putting your mind in gear. Until your mind is in gear, your life cannot be in gear. Until your mind is in gear, your life cannot be in gear. So we'll be teaching about how to reset your mind so that you can be able to live a fruitful life, a productive life, become vibrant and buoyant, and ultimately become an asset to your generation, not a liability. Now, it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a woman thinks in her heart, so is she. The first thing I want us to understand when we talk about reset your mindset is that you are not what you believe, but you are what you think. The meaning is, where your thinking stops, your sinking starts. Where your thinking stops, your sinking starts. And where your thinking stops, your stinking starts. Where your thinking stops, your stinking starts. Now, this topic very, very important, because if you don't mind your mind, no one will mind you. Until you mind your mind, no one will mind you. Because where your mind goes, that's what determines the direction of your life. Your mind is actually the compass. It gives you the direction where you go in life. So you are where you are because of your level of your thinking. You cannot outperform your level of your thinking. Now, that's what we'll be looking at tonight. You cannot outperform your level of your thinking. Now, how do you reset your mindset so that you can sit in the right position? It's very, very important. So I'll be looking at some of the few things we need to do as you reset your mindset. It said, be not conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed. How? Be metamorphosed. Be transmogrified. Metamorphosed. Be transmogrified. Be changed. How? By the renewing of your mind. So in order to reset your mindset, you need to renew your mind. That's the first key for tonight. You need to renew your mind. How do you renew your mind? By giving it the right information. We call that knowledge.
Yes.
Very, very important. To be able to reset your mindset, the first thing, you renew your mind by giving it right information. We call it quality nutrition of the mind. Your mind also wants to eat right information. Any type of information you give your mind, that's how to be able to manifest in your life. In other words, if you absorb wrong information, you are going to manifest the wrong attitude. If you give your mind right information, you manifest the right attitude, and ultimately you manifest the right things in your life. So number one, you renew your mind. You renew your mind by reading quality information or quality books. Now, this is very, very important because reading is what changes the way you think. Now, books are destiny molders. Books shape your destiny. And if you love to read right books, your generation has no choice but to book you. So read, have a specific program of reading, have a specific pattern of reading. Let reading become your lifestyle, not an event. In other words, it's better to miss a meal, not to miss your quality time of reading. So the question is, what time do you read? What time do you study? And by this, I don't talk about only studying things which are in line with your career. Studying things which are in line with your career. Reading different types of books. Because whatever you want to know in your life is hidden in the book someone has already written. So, number one, to reset your mindset, you need to be a reader, a constant reader. You read constantly and consistently, and also persistently. You read every day. Let there be quality nutrition so that your thinking can be able to change. Now, when your mind is renewed, your life is upgraded. When your mind is renewed, your life is upgraded. So your life cannot be upgraded beyond your level of your thinking or your level of information. You can only perform at your level of your knowledge base. Now, what happens is that when you read, you get knowledge. Write the word knowledge, please, down. Knowledge. Now, the word knowledge gives you an edge, E-D-G-E. The purpose of knowledge is to give you an edge, E-D-G-E. The meaning is, when you receive new information, when you receive new knowledge, your edge, your mentality is sharpened. So new knowledge sharpens your mentality. New knowledge sharpens your thinking. New knowledge sharpens your mental horizons. It widens your mental horizons. So the purpose of knowledge is to give you an edge. Again, what you know determines what you show. What you know determines what you show. So if you don't know something, you cannot show it. If you don't know something, you cannot manifest it. What you know determines what you show. I think it's also important for us to say that until your thinking changes, nothing changes in your life. Nothing changes in your life until your thinking changes. And until your thinking changes in your life, nothing will change in your life. As a matter of fact, you cannot go far in life beyond your level of your thinking. Can I say something on the flip side of the coin? You are where you are today because of your level of your thinking yesterday. You are where you are today because of your level of thinking yesterday. So to improve tomorrow, for you to go on a higher level, higher plane, higher terrain tomorrow, you need to increase your level of knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is information. Knowledge is information. So right information brings transformation. And when you are transformed, you are not conformed. Because to be conformed is to be deformed. But to be transformed, to be informed is to be transformed. Let me repeat it for the television audience. To be conformed is to be deformed. When you are conformed to the world, you end up being deformed. But when you are informed, you are transformed. And transformed, you help others to be transformed as well. So knowledge is the seed for change. Write that down. Knowledge is the seed for change. Understanding is the seed for comprehension. Understanding is the seed for comprehension. But wisdom is the seed for application. We look at that as we continue this series. So knowledge is the seed of change. If you want to change, get knowledge. If you want to comprehend something in your life, get understanding. If you want to apply something in your life, get wisdom. Now, these three, they work together, all of them. First of all, you get knowledge, then you get understanding, then you get wisdom. He says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. In all thy getting, get understanding. So, number one, you get knowledge. Very, very important. What else do you need to do to reset your mindset? You must respect time. You must maximize time. You must know that the time you are given today, it won't be given again to you tomorrow. What is time? Time is nothing but a temporary interruption of eternity, for my learned friends. Time is a temporary interruption of eternity. In other words, time, it was given to us who live in time, not the one who created time. so you can maximize time. So when you maximize time, then you become productive in life. I have never seen a poor person who respects time. I've never seen a wealthy person who doesn't respect time. I have never seen a poor person who respects time. And I've never seen a wealthy person who doesn't respect time. Because your respect of time is the prediction of your future. Your respect of time is a prediction of your great destiny. Your respect of time is a revelation, evidence, proof of your financial future. So if you respect time today, it does not matter what you don't have. You magnetize it because you maximize time. You will be able to attract it because you respect time. So poor people squander time, but the wealthy, they maximize time. So when your mind is renewed, your mind is changed, your thinking pattern changes, you respect time. In other words, you won't think in hours, you think in milliseconds. You won't think in days, you think in milliseconds, because every second counts. Very, very important. So when your mind is renewed or transformed, number 3, your habits will change. That new information you receive, it changes your habits. Have you heard of this thing of saying that old habits die hard? You don't need to kill old habits. The best way to deal with the old habits is to replace it with a new habit. Why are habits important? Because your habit, H-A-B-I-T, your habit determines your habitat. I can be able to know your type of habits just checking the type of habitat you are in now. The habitat you are in now is a reflection, a revelation, a pointer to help us know what type of have. For example, if you have got bad sleeping habits, you sleep all night. You sleep like, there are certain people who sleep like they are practicing to die. They sleep from 8 p.m. and wake up at 9 p.m. They sleep like they are practicing to die. You don't know that if you sleep all night, then you lose all day.
Yeah.
If you sleep like you are practicing to die, you can never become great. A little sleep, a little slumber, so shall poverty come to knock at your door like a bandit. So, what are your sleeping habits? Do you sleep like you are practicing to die? You cannot sleep too much and have much in life. The other one is the eating habits. Are you eating like you are declaring war with the food? Like you are declaring Biafra war with the food? How do you eat? What time do you eat your breakfast? What time do you eat your lunch? What time do you eat your dinner? Don't eat what you just want to eat. If you eat junk food, you end up having a junk body and you end up in a junkyard. I repeat that for our friend, the nutritionist. If you eat junk food, you end up having a junk body and you end up in a junkyard. So don't eat like you are declaring Biafra war with the food. Eat right. When to eat is as important as what you eat. When to eat is as important as what you eat. So eat well so that you can be able to live well and live long. Number 3, the habit of exercise. Many people, they don't exercise. This life is boring. I can't exercise. Now, if you don't exercise, nothing becomes excellent in your life. Simple exercise, jogging, doing push-ups, just any form of exercise, very, very important, so the body can be physically fit. Because if your body is unfit, then everything in your life won't be fit in your life. Body exercise, that's another habit you develop. Another one is the habit, I spoke about it, the habit of reading. Develop a reading culture. Let reading be your culture in your house, which inculcates. The value of a human being is not determined by how big their TV is, but how big their library is. Never make your car to be more expensive than your library. Because everything you want to know in your life is hidden in your library. So make sure, develop a habit of buying a book to read at least every month. Every month end, buy a book or 2 and develop a personal library in your house. When I come to your house, the first thing that I want to see are not the sofas or the TV. The first thing I want to check in your house, I want to see your library. Because when your library is big, it shows how far you are going. Because ignorance is not knowing, but stupidity is refusing to learn. When you don't know, you can't show what you don't know. So time maximization, very, very important. Your respect of time is a prediction of your financial future. Number two, your habits. Habits. Your habit determines your habitat. Now, when you receive information, new information, what happens is that you don't give up easily in life. You become persistent. Because what happens is that new information gives you the fuel not to give up in life. So you become persistent. You are persistent. Why is persistence important? Because persistence is the cure for resistance. And persistence is the answer for resistance. In other words, you have a never give up attitude. Never, ever give up attitude. It is Sir Winston Churchill who said, never, ever give up. Because many people who give up at 11:30 at night, their miracle comes at midnight. So you become persistent when you receive new information. You never give up. You have what we call bulldog tenacity in motivational speaking. You don't give up, you don't give in, so you can go up. Very, very important. So you become persistent, you don't give up, and ultimately you become a winner. So these are some of the few things we'll be looking at as we continue in the Reset the Mindset. So number one, you read. If you don't read, you may soon become like a reed. If you read today, you become a leader. Readers are leaders. So if you want to become a great reader tomorrow, be a leader. And leadership will give you readership and it will protect you from hardship. Maximize time. Your respect of time is a prediction of financial future. Then your habits. Your habit determines your habitat. So very, very important thing I want us to look at. So what else happens when you are renewing your mind, being transformed, your thinking changes, and you are sharpened in the mind? What exactly happens is that now your passion level, your passion index grows. You become passionate about life, and ultimately you go ahead in that passion of yours. Because many people on earth today, they are uninterested and not passionate. I'll ask you, dear, what is your passion in life? To be interested does not mean that you have got passion. Because you can be interested in something, but you are not passionate yet. Now, passion, what is passion? Definition. Passion is something which drives you in life. It's not what you drive, but what drives you in life. That determines how far you go. As a matter of fact, what drives you attracts what you drive tomorrow. It's not where you sit, but who sits in you. That determines how far you go in life. It's not what you wear, but who you are wearing. That determines how far you go in life. So passion. What is your passion? Maybe the simplest definition of passion is what wakes you up every morning. You can never become successful in life unless you have a mosquito in your bedroom. I think Dr. Kekana will tell you that you need to have a female Anopheles mosquito in your blankets for you to succeed, to bite you every morning, to bite you every night, to bite you every day. Once the female Anopheles mosquito stings, it stings that proboscis inside you every morning, then you'll be able to wake up every morning. What wakes you up every morning? Because if there's nothing which wakes you up every morning, then you'll be able to do what? You'll be saying, no, I want to sleep every night like I'm practicing to die. I want to sleep more. I want to sleep an extra mile. No one became great by oversleeping. No one became great. Everyone who became great in life, ask them. They have got a mosquito in their bedroom. The female Anopheles mosquito, which always stings its proboscis inside them. Then ultimately they say, I must wake up and do something. I must wake up and do something. So to go far, you need to understand that you must be passionate. What is your passion? What are you passionate about? By that I mean, what do you love to do most? What do you love to do most? Don't do what you like, do what you love. Because what you love doing is a clue to what you are to live doing. Very, very important. And your passion is connected to what you love to do. Number two, what is it that wakes you up every morning? What is it that you keep seeing in which your eyes are closed? That is your passion. The simplest definition of passion is what drives you. And what it drives you will take you far in life. Very, 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 very important. Another thing I want to talk about that when you study, when your mind is transformed, your mind is renewed, your thinking is changed, then your imagination grows. Your imagination spectrum grows. Your mental horizons are widened because of your reading culture, because of what you are studying, and because of what you're eating, and because of what you're feeding your conscious and your subconscious mind. Your imagination grows. It is my mentor in the motivation industry, Zig Ziglar, who said, the greatest nation in the world is not America or London or any other nation or West Germany or South Africa. The greatest nation in the world is your imagination. Imagination. You don't know that your imagination is the greatest nation in the world. Now, write the word imagination slowly, please. Imagination. Slowly, please. Imagination. Now, imagination, if you see it's imagination, when you imagine something, which means you are creating images in your mind. The meaning is what you imagine determines what to image in your life. I repeat it. What you imagine determines what to image in your life. If you want great things to image out of your life, if you want great things to image in your life, you must imagine it first. If you don't imagine it, it will not image in your life. That's the meaning of your word imagination. Now, if your imagination is big, then you see big things happening in your life, because imagination is the greatest nation in the world. There's no nation bigger than your imagination. So how do you maximize the power of imagination? Where I'm staying at my house, I have what I call a thinking and a thinking chair. Many people, they don't think. That's why maybe they think. Do you know that when you spend an hour every day of just deep thinking, no noise, no jumping, no kululu, no halala, no acrobatics, no gymnastics, just thinking with pen and paper. Always when you are thinking, when it's your thinking time, think with pen and paper and do what? You write what you're thinking on paper. It is my mentor, Jim Rohn, who said the best way to think is on paper. If you want to think right, you must think with a pen and paper and write the thoughts which you are thinking on paper. Why is writing important? Because writing is nothing but arresting the thoughts. The best way to arrest ideas is to jot them down. The best way to arrest the thoughts is to write them down. The best way to magnetize ideas is to write them down. So put pen to paper so that you can be able to remember everything you are thinking and every idea you have. Now, never trust your memory, because your mind was given for creativity, but your memo pad, your computer, your laptop, your iPad, your book, your notebook, that is for what? Reserving what you receive today. So how do you widen your imagination? By having a thinking room, by having a thinking chair, and writing all the ideas or the thoughts which you receive in your thinking room, you put it on paper. Very, very important. So have a pen and paper in your thinking room and write the thoughts and ideas. Then you can be able to see that you become productive, you become effective, and you become great in your area of assignment. That's very, very important. Another thing which happens when your mind is renewed is that you see that you start to change in your life. Changes begin to happen. Changes begin to happen. Now, what are some of the changes you see happening in your life? In other words, your attitude towards people. Because people don't care how much you know until they see how you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And people don't care how much you see until they see how much you care. So that's what you need to understand, that when your mind is renewed, you won't despise people. You know that dynamite comes in small packages. You can be able to know a great man or a great woman by how they treat little people. They don't look them down upon them. They don't mistreat them. They don't treat them like the scum of the earth. That's how great it is. That's how you can see that you are great. Now, when your mind is renewed and your mind is transformed, what happens? You are changed. So we'll be talking about the power of change as we continue. As Dr. Kekana just lets us know exactly what we're browsed to so far, what we've looked at so far. So we'll be delving deeper in the issue of change, because change is not change until you are changed. And if you,
I actually wanted to interrupt you a bit so that I can tell the viewers that they can ask questions. They mustn't be afraid to ask questions in the question box. And then once you are done, we'll answer a few questions and go on and see how much we can broaden up the scale. But I have a question myself. That's so that when I give you a breather and then I can ask a question. You've touched on so deeply in terms of, positioning from your mind to yourself, to people around you, from your mindset to things that you need to be equipped, like your library, also the space you need for you to bring up ideas and how you write them down. The question I have is that there are people, who are told or who believe that in their family line, for example, there's never been any graduate, there's never been any person who's successful. They just live their life and just what they call a normal life. They wake up, they go work under somebody, and they come back and they provide for their kids or whatever that it is. But there's never been certain things in the family. So somebody's sitting there, there's never been any graduates in the family or any professional in the family or maybe any famous person in the family. And they're told that when they try to get out of that cycle. So my question to you is this. What can a person like that use? What can they do to snap out of that way? Because now you can see it's a system that is set in the family that no one escapes beyond this level. And you believe it because you see it as a child, or you believe it because you are told again and again. You are what you repeatedly say to yourself or hear, or the situation becomes not really, the situation becomes, constant when people tell you, no, don't worry, my uncle tried this, or we tried this, and he failed, he dropped out of school. There's nobody who goes. It seems as if there's something wrong. Now they've already convinced themselves that there's something wrong in the family, or they can never do it. It's not given to them. They're given other things. How do you snap out of that? How do you become the first one to do it in the family? And what can you use? What do you think is best to repatient the mind? Over to you.
Absolutely. Very, 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 very powerful question, sir. The first step you must take is to be part of In His Grace and Mercy, because in His Grace and Mercy is the leadership factory where we deal with such issues whereby you are coming from a family where no one has made it before. You don't have even perfect examples to look at. You don't have role models, and you don't have people to look at. So the first key, before I even talk about everything, is to be part of the In His Grace and Mercy team, because it's a team of mentors, it's a team of fathers, it's a team of professionals, it's a team of men and women who are loaded, experts in different types of areas. So I would encourage all the listeners and the viewers right now that be a continuous or a consistent learner, because all the answers you're looking for in life, you'll find them here. Here we don't teach mathematics, we teach lifematics, L-I-F-E-matics. We might not teach mathematics, we teach lifematics, lifematics. That's what we are teaching. So the number one, belong to His Grace and Mercy, because believe you me, we are going to equip you, we are going to train you in every area, every aspect of your life. We deal with it here. This place is a leadership factory, is a hub, the fulcrum of success. So then number two, I like to ask the question, my learned friend. The number two, it's very, very important for people to understand that number one, you need, I will talk about other areas again. You need to understand that never allow your family tree to define you, and never allow any human being to define you. Because whoever can define you can also confine you.
Yes.
Never allow people to define you, because whoever can define you can also confine you. Number two, never allow people's opinion to determine what you do in life. Because if you are led by people's opinion, you end up becoming an onion. If you are led by people's opinion, you end up becoming an onion. Then number 3, what do you need to do to come out of that? You need to identify a mentor or a life coach, a mentor. Now, many young professionals today, they think they know a lot. Do you know that you can have so many degrees more than a clinical thermometer? Dr. Kekana will tell you, you can have degrees more than a clinical thermometer, but you need wisdom to succeed in life. So in His grace and mercy is a place where you find men and women who are loaded with wisdom so that you can be able to become productive. So identify your life coach, identify your mentor. Now, your mentor is not your friend. It's good to have a friend, but you need a mentor. Who is a mentor? Definition. A mentor, your friend loves you the way you are, but your mentor loves you too much to leave you the way you are. I repeat it. Your friend loves you the way you are, but your mentor loves you too much to leave you the way you are. Number 2, your friend is comfortable with your past, but your mentor is comfortable with your future. Your friend is comfortable with your past, but your mentor is comfortable with your future. Number 3, your friend tolerates you. Your friend tolerates you, but your mentor challenges you. Your mentor challenges you. In other words, what is your prayer request is your mentor's testimony. What is your prayer request, your mentor's testimony? What you want to achieve for the people in the corporate, what you want to achieve in life, your mentor already has it. So it's very, very important to have a mentor, because if you don't have a mentor, you can end up being tormented. So have a mentor. Who is your life coach? Who speaks into your life? Now, the other thing, your friend is comfortable with what you are doing, but your mentor gives you correction. Because is someone who speaks into your life, they rebuke you, they correct you, they give you instruction, because instructions are keys to significance. Instructions are keys to success. Instructions make you a high flyer in the land of the living. Listen to this. People crawl by ignorance. They walk by common sense. They run by principles, but they only fly by instruction. I repeat it. People crawl in life, crawl by ignorance. They walk by common sense. They run by principles, but they fly by instruction. Every pilot will tell you when they start their training, with a little background of pilot myself, when they start, they tell you the pilot, as a pilot, the first lesson they give you is that there is no mechanic in the air. There is no mechanic in the air. There's no one who's going to repair the aeroplane in the air. So for you to fly high in life, doesn't matter which family you're coming from, doesn't matter what you don't have, for you to fly, identify a life coach, identify a mentor, identify a father. You might not be saying, no, my parents passed on. You identify a father who can be able to father you, so you can have feathers. You go further than your father went. So these are some of the things which people need to apply for them to defy the odds, for them to say, it doesn't matter where I'm coming from. I keep telling people every time I conduct a leadership seminar for politicians and bishops and pastors and the corporate, I tell them that never allow your background to put your back on the ground. Never allow your background to put your back on the ground. It is my senior in the motivational industry, Les Brown, who said, when hard knocks of life put you down, make sure you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Les Brown. And he said, people don't fail in life because they aim high, they aim too high. People fail in life because they aim too low and hit it. So you can never rise to your lowest expectations. So in summary, have a mentor, have a tutor, have a life coach. Never allow someone to define you because they can confine you. Never allow people's opinions to become your reality, because you are bigger than that. You are bigger than people's opinion. You are bigger than what people think, because you are born to succeed. And success is inside you. Success is not outside you. It's not without. It's within. So any human being, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter where you came from. It does not matter your ethnicity. It does not matter your background. Does not matter your parents. As a matter of fact, God is your parent. Does not matter where you're coming from. You can still go far. As a matter of fact, don't allow what you don't have to determine how far you go. Use everything you have, including a broken shovel. Because as a matter of fact, your challenges can become the stepping stone for you to go up in life. So never allow a setback to give you a drawback. Let your setback be a setup for your going up. Never allow a challenge to bring confusion in your life, because your challenge is the breakfast for champions. So I encourage you, dear viewer, that don't allow the situation of yesterday. Allow the past to pass, because yesterday is a canceled check. Tomorrow is a promissory note, and today is already cash. So use it. That's why today is called the present, because it's a gift for you to use to magnetize every success that you need. Never allow the past to be in your life, because if you don't allow the past to pass away, you may pass away with it. And the future is not waited upon, it is created. The best way to invent your future is to create it, according to K. The best way to magnetize your future is to think it. Dream big, even if you sleep on a small bed, because the sky is not the limit, but the cushion you use just in case you fall from the top of the sky.
Yeah, you are really showering. I'm sitting here and I'm absorbing. When I read, I always say my brain is like a sponge. I want to mop up everything. So I'm trying to mop up everything that you are saying, because in life, identify a mentor. It's very, very, very important. I cannot overemphasize the fact that you identify a mentor. Even if throughout our podcast you see somebody who can become a mentor, most of the people that we've called here, and which is why I like the fact, we are not saying stick with us because we are trying to step you into some signing up for us where we don't even charge you, but we are willing to give you information you need to equip you. You know that this is what you can do for yourself. This is the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yes.
You don't have to pay any subscription fee. But what I like is that there are people in this platform who have been there, who are willing to save these people for free. That's why we are where we are today. And you can identify some of them. They can become your mentors or but identify somebody who is going to be brutally honest with you. Because in the absence of a mentor, you are going to believe what your friends say. You are going to believe what other people are saying. You are going to believe so many things that contaminate your mind. And once you identify that, for you to be a winner, you must associate with winners.
Absolutely.
If at home you are running with 5 people, which the other one is your friend, the other one is your cousin, the other one is your neighbor, and you are the fastest one, if you stick with them, you'll become the fastest. But you realize that you might be the slowest when you stick with other teams. So the best thing is that go with winners, people who have done more than you. You stick with them, you will do better than them. If you run with slow people, you become the best. You then are comfortable, but when you check your speed, it's a less than average speed. So identify somebody who's ahead, who has what you are dreaming, who has experience in what you want, who can correct you in something, who can tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've tried, it failed. I don't want you to try it. Move from here and try the other options. These options, I failed them in my lifetime. They're not going to work for you. That is a person who is not comfortable with your present, but they're comfortable with your future, because they know you're not going to try something that they've tried and they failed as your mentor. The same thing. You are the one, nobody will come to you and say, I want to be your mentor. It has to be you who identifies the person who has to be your mentor. Ask them. I don't think there's anyone who would refuse to mentor you or what. But I wanted to ask you, honestly, this is so powerful. I'm sitting, I'm thinking.
So you're spongifying.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I'm possibly one of those young men who have read a lot and I think I know everything. Somebody can fall into that trap, but you need a mentor, because we're not talking about, for example, I was saying last time when I was hosting this lady that I reflected and I looked back and I asked myself, ever since I left high school. No, I'm not talking about that 12 years that you studied till high school. After high school, I can tell you I've been studying effectively without stopping for 16 years. Somebody hasn't worked for that long. You understand how much you can become, how much you can think you know everything. But you need a mentor because you can still make mistakes, you can still make an error of judgment, you can miscalculate situations and end up losing everything. So, but now you need that. You need a mentor. I want to ask you about thinking room, you know, and I want your thought in this because I, you know, I want your thought. I always believed, and which is what I practice. When I want to think about something great, I go sit outside in my garden. And sometimes I look up, it's quiet, it's a private garden. You know, I look up, it's a very much open garden. So I always say I want to dream so big that I don't look up and have a limit over something. I see some psychologists and stress coaches and coaches, you know, even when they're in their rooms where it's private, the other side of the room is a wallpaper that sort of shows you outside. It imitates outside as an inside. What do you say about that? What is because sometimes people feel like, you know, people are claustrophobic, they want to think outside, where some people tell you when they think they have a pen and a paper, they walk around the house and they write something. What do you think is the best? Because the room people might think is just this room, but what do you mean by thinking? Yeah, you know what I mean? Because people say, no, you need a room where you sit, you quieten everything. And then, you know, what do you mean by thinking room? And I like that fact that one has to sit and become honest with themselves. I mean, last week, I think 2 weeks ago in the morning, Sistrina was saying that you need to be brutally honest with yourself. If you lie to yourself, where are you going? So when you sit in that space, what this thinking room, and maybe paint a picture for us about this thinking room.
Okay. Thank you for giving me the painting brush and the paint. When we talk about the thinking room, it's not. We are not talking about the room, physical room, because you need to be comfortable with what works for you.
Yeah.
All of us, we are different. We are unique. In other words, let me give some few examples. For some, you can go and sit by the swimming pool, sit by the riverside, and go out. Another thing you can do is leave your house. Sometimes leave your house, go to a lodge where it's not noisy, like lodges, which some resort places where you can be able to think, because it is proven actually that most of the time when you do that, you attract ideas. So you can either go sit outside, like you're saying, by your garden, as long as it works for you. You can even sit in a physical house if your house allows. There's no noise, not a noisy place, or you have a house where you have got a private library upstairs, you can still do that. Or maybe go to a place like you. Let not your holiday just be leisure. Let your holiday be a place of thinking. You fly, go to another country, or fly, go to another place, and but make sure that the main thing is to think and write things. Either store them on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone, because most of the times when you separate yourself, seest thou a man diligent in his business, he shall stand before kings, and he shall not stand before mean men. He who desires wisdom, he separates himself and seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. So there are different ways of having this thinking room. It's not a thinking room, a physical thinking room in your house. It can be a garden, it can be by the riverside, it can be by the ocean, it can be flying to another country, just to a holiday, a thinking holiday. So that's what you do. We don't want to put people in a place whereby they say, no, if I don't have a proper house, therefore, which means I cannot think. That's not an excuse, because excuses are the nails which failures use to build the coffin of failure. So that's what I can be able to give as an answer to that. Feel free to do whatever works for you, but all in all, find time to think and write down what you think, because when you think and write down those ideas, it is ideas that rule the world. Until you have an idea, you will continue to suffer the ordeal. If you don't want to suffer the ordeal, write down the idea and be able to follow that idea, and you become great, you become progressive, and become successful And all the things you wanted to desire to achieve, you'll be able to achieve them. So the thinking room is not just in your house. Anywhere else where you are comfortable, you can be able to magnetize ideas. That is the thinking room.
I wanted to follow through on that question by saying, after the process, now take us through. You have ideas that you've put down. Let's say now you want to beat the certain habits by replacing them with other habits. You want to start a new business or start an idea. You want to do certain things in your life or in your family or in the community, and then you have that idea. When in the process of an idea and the process of consulting, process of researching, and then ultimately process of production, when do you consult somebody? And which type of a person do you consult? Let me just give an example. I can say at this age, look, I want to go back and play soccer and become a professional. Somebody say, hey, but you're slightly older for a South African man to still be a professional soccer player. And this, you understand what I'm saying? And I might have consulted somebody who has seen people, retire at the age of 30, 35, 40. There are few soccer players who ended up but I'm just giving that an example. For me, going back and playing soccer as a professional. But now, when in the process, because that people can discourage you when the idea is still fragile. Now, at what process of an idea when you research, because now you're changing your mind, your mindset. When do you consult, and what type of people do you consult? And then to what extent do you take the feedback? Whether it be your mentor, which is why your mentor is important, because then your mentor will be able to properly, without having to spice up, now this idea, now this one's opinion is different than your mentor and everything. But take us through that, because now I thought about it, I wrote them. Now I want an execution, but execution needs to come with the research, needs to come with the reflection, and then implementation. Very good question. The question is, when do you now consult? That's the word you use. Yeah. When do you consult? Now, I'm glad you brought that up, because ideas, most of the time, they come in what we call baby form. And when an idea comes, it needs to be incubated for some time before it is finally broadcasted, or before you finally tell your mentor. Now, when you get an idea, I'll try to be very, very simple on that before you go to consult. When you get an idea, remember, you write it down. You get an idea, you write it down. As a kingdom diplomat myself, I say you pray about it. Pray to receive more wisdom on how you can be able to navigate through that idea. So there's a time when an idea is birthed. There's a time when the idea must be incubated in the incubator for it to be cooked, in simpler terms, to be cooked. And as the time it is being cooked, remember, when the time when you need the mentor was 20 years ago, and the second best time was yesterday. So the mentor must always be there, no matter how young you are. The mentor must be there. But depending on the ideas you have, because ideas are segmented, ideas are in different facets, and every idea is in line with your assignment. So now, when do you consult your mentor? You consult your mentor. Of course, it depends on the type of connection you have with your mentor, because mentors are in levels. You can have mentor for grade 1, as far as mentorship is concerned, and mentor for grade 2, and mentor for grade 3, until you reach your highest pinnacle of success. So when do you consult your mentor? You consult your mentor when your idea is now in the incubator, it's still being cooked. You ask them, you don't tell them everything, but you ask them, I had this idea. What do you think I need to do? Because when your mentor comes to you, they'll be speaking to you on the platform of how to accomplish it, because they've already accomplished it. So you put an idea in the incubator. So as kingdom diplomats, we say you take time to pray about it. You take time to water it with prayer, so that many more ideas on even how to do it ultimately will be able to come. So you consult the mentor when the idea is in the incubator. And when the mentor gives you that fuel on how to run with it, then automatically you start doing it. Now, how do you start doing it? How do you start applying it?
I think it's better for us to look at that. How do you start applying it? You must learn to take baby steps. Don't just say, no, today I want to change the whole world. No, 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 no. Life is in phases, PHA, and people are in sizes. Life is in phases and people are in sizes. How do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So you start with the baby steps. Start with baby steps. But guess what? The longest journey on earth starts with a single step, according to Lao Tzu. The longest journey on earth starts with a single step. The longest journey on earth starts with a single step. Now, why is the first step important? Because until you take the first step, you never take the second step. It's important for us to zero in on that, because some people, they say, I've got many ideas, brilliant ideas, fantastic ideas. But when you now want to apply them, don't rush to apply them until you consult your mentor. And mentor, normally that's why mentors are, they don't take any stories from you. They would give you an instruction and run with it. That's why it must be in the incubator. So by the time you start applying it, you start taking that first step, second step, third step, and ultimately you become a success in every area. Now, what we are talking about here, by you applying those baby steps, it's not about what you achieve, but what you become. What do you become? You become an asset. So to answer your question, sir, when do you consult? You consult when your ideas, which you wrote on paper, they are in the incubator, being incubated, being baked. Then your mentor comes in to inject that fuel, inject that enthusiasm in you, give you a jab of divine acceleration. And then when you receive that and you cap it up what the mentor said, then you start running with it. But don't just sit on the boat. Don't just sit inside the boat. Action, 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 action. Until there's an action, there will never be a reaction. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I wanted to. Now we are now sitting at almost like 3 minutes past 8. But I want you to put together the nuggets as I'm about to wrap up. We said this is part 1, and I can tell you, and I can promise you, this is part 1. If there's part 1, that means there's more parts coming. I can tell you about that. But 19 more. But you see, the baby steps idea, I like it yes, because as young people, we are quick to want to see the fruits of our labor. And 2 weeks ago, when we were sitting on Sunday and we were preaching, and 6 weeks I was teaching again, and then I wanted to say something, and she said, this is a different teaching altogether, don't even start. I think we're going to verse 40 of Hebrews 11. I remember very well. And now it comes up again, where we are here. But the baby steps, let me go back to that. Baby steps means that you start small, but you are starting anyway. So some of us are so much energetic that when we start, we want to see the payment, we want to see the gratification of what we are starting. We want to see a complete dream in the beginning. Remember, for you to have been a graduate, you have to start where they teach you vowels. What's up, A? Some people don't even know what's up A. It just shows you how old I am anyway. And you start there. But each time the year goes by, a day goes by, you learn a new sentence, you learn how to punctuate, you learn how to read. But see, what people do today is that they start things, and while they're in a baby phase, they want those things to give fruits while the tree hasn't been matured itself. A month ago, Umfundis Mkari was teaching about God creates you first. After He's created you, He creates things around you that you eat as fruit. So sometimes, as the idea is in baby steps, and people are applying it or implementing it rather, they want it to look like it's a fully fleshed and developed and mature idea. So they give up at the fact of starting small. And starting small, I want to reiterate what you said. Starting small it's important. Starting step. Until you take a first step, you don't take a second step.
Yes.
But you got to take a first step. And first step has its own challenges. You might not step properly as you start walking. Sometimes when you walk, you feel like you've nearly twisted your ankle, but you continue walking anyway. That's what happens in life. But what comforts me here is that you start small. You start with baby steps and you grow from there. And as you grow, for us, the kingdom people, we know there's certain things that sometimes they slow you down, and sometimes there's certain things that accelerate you. It depends. But when you are growing, try to make everything accelerate you. When people say you can't, you say, I will. I am going to. You accelerate. When you see a difficulty, you see an opportunity to beat that. So start small. Take a first step.
It's true.
And then you become an asset to your generation, because where you stopped, you will continue and be an asset. I usually say that when I went to varsity, I never had a mentor myself, I'll tell you. I only had friends. I never had a preview of what happens in the varsity. And that's why I thank God, because in that case, God was the one who, I've never made errors of judgment that would end up getting me expelled from varsity, because I was never told how it was. So, and that for me ended up as being something that I felt blessed about, because I never got a preview that this is how it's going to happen. It was happening in life as I see it. It was a virgin as I see it. But in life, one has to start small.
Yes.
One has to take baby steps, and then you continue to walk. Then you can run. Then you can fly. That's how you start. And I like the fact, I don't know, I saw you are preparing your nuggets, because I'm wrapping up. I'm giving you time to consolidate. I watched this video. I had somebody, I don't remember where, but it was a plane. So the pilot started saying, the runway is too short. We have a problem, right? So because sometimes in life, when the runway is too small, you don't get enough momentum to fly.
Yes.
Now you end up colliding with certain flags or buildings because the runway was too short. So in life, let's allow our runway to be longer, to gain momentum. So when we take off, indeed we go very high. Because if a runway is too small, we might actually not even make it high. So let's agree that we take a longer journey. Let's start with the first step. And then after a couple of steps, when we have gained momentum, we can then take off and nothing will stop us. We need nuggets from you. We're supposed to do an hour. That's what we always say, that we're supposed to do an hour, but we go over. That's what I like about being on this. You virtually become your own boss. You just need to respect time, because people have other things. And trading line, because you can. It's just that today I was supplied with light. You can't even see that I'm low chat, because I'm really quite dark. Once I'm low chat, you just have to hear a voice over. So I'm a wrap up of this part one.
Yes.
Reset your mind, part one. Give us the nuggets as I'm running the punch things we went through on the as a banner running on the floor there on your screen while you are saying the nuggets for the day.
It's true, and the people should feel free to ask questions, because until you ask questions, your life remains a question mark. Until you ask questions, your life remains a question mark. But when you ask questions, you become an exclamation mark. Now, just to summarize it all, let me just add on what you mentioned about the issue of starting small. To start big and think small is insanity. To start big but thinking small is insanity. To start small but thinking big is wisdom. To start small but thinking big is wisdom. Most people who start big end up small. Most people who start big end up small. And most people who start small end up big. So if you want to become big, start small. Because to start small and think big is wisdom. And to start big and yet you are thinking small. That's insanity. So in summary, what we're looking at today is as we set the mindset, is that you need to read, because if you don't read, you may soon become like a reed. Only readers become leaders. We said you need to maximize time, because your respect of time is a prediction of your bright future. We said you need to have the right habits, develop them. They are developed because your habit determines your habitat. We said you must be persistent, never ever give up. Have bulldog tenacity. Say, I will never ever give up. Because people who give up never go up. People who give up never go up. So don't give in, don't give up, don't give out, so that you can be able to go up. We said also widen your imagination, because imagination is the greatest nation in the world. It changes your thinking. We said knowledge is the seed for change. Understanding is the seed for comprehension, but wisdom is the seed for comprehension. We also said when your mind is renewed and transformed or metamorphosed, what happens is that you change. Everything in life begins to change. So don't look for change, because the greatest change that you want in your life begins with you. Nothing changes until your thinking changes. When you change, everything around you begins to change. But the last thing I want to talk about tonight is that words. In 2 minutes, then we are done also. Words. We can't leave that out. Your words. The law of speech. Words. Now, if you want to remain a high flyer, if you want to become great, change your language. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat of the fruit thereof. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat of its fruit thereof. What are we saying when it comes to words? If you cannot have a big destiny if you speak small. If you want to become big, speak big. Why is that important? Because what you say determines what you see. What you say determines what you see. What you verbalize determines what you magnetize. What you verbalize determines what you magnetize. You are not seeing it because you are not saying it. You are not seeing it in your life because you're not saying it. Your speech determines your reach. Your speech determines your reach. And what you speak determines how far you can go in life. In other words, every day in your life, be it Monday morning or Monday evening or Monday night, you must have a day whereby you speak in front of you and declare words like, I am a winner. I am a champion. I don't care about my background. My background cannot put my back on my ground. I am succeeding. I am going forward. Forward ever and backwards never. Learn to use your mouth. Why is the mouth important? Because your mouth is the steering wheel of your destiny. Your mouth is the compass of your life. Your mouth is what gives you direction where you go. Where your mouth goes, that's where your life goes. So learn to apply and maximize the law of positive affirmation. Don't use negative words on your life. Don't use negative words upon your children. Don't use negative words upon your business or your company or whatever you're doing. Never use negative words, because words are seeds of destiny. Whatever you say, you magnetize, whether positive or negative. So speak big in order to become big. Don't speak negative, so don't magnetize negativity. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So when you say something, say what you want to see. No, don't say what you don't want to see. Very, very important. Reset your mindset, part 1. We have got 19 more remaining. May God help us to give us time to be able to maximize time, so that even as we live in time, we can be able to enjoy time and apply time, so that during this time, we can be able to benefit from the time. So the time we have tonight, we can be able to benefit from it and become an asset to our generation. The respect of time is the prediction of your financial future. Thank you so very much, sir.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I cannot even begin to thank you for the time you've invested to teach us. I've learned quite a lot. This is one of many segments where I've learned a lot. Believe me, as much as we sit with the NK team to prepare this, I want to thank the team. And I want to thank everyone that is, as much as we plan these things, we also learn from them, because we just decided to associate with winners and decided to associate with movers, because we want to move with people. And also as we move, we want to bring you along and move, so that when we learn, you learn as well. When we become blessed, you become blessed as well. When we become leaders, you also lead in your small circle. What I want to see is that we change our mind and really become leaders, because God has given us the world to become great. We are destined for greatness. And one of the leaders in America said, God never made such a being. If men were made to die, men were made not to die. So men were made to be immortal. God has created so much in us that we shouldn't just leave ourselves like that. So if you have any questions, even after this section, the podcast will remain. You can go on YouTube, Instagram, you can go on Facebook. Type your question. We'll be able to get Banda to answer the question again. Or answer the questions that you have if it's outside the time that you when you ask, we're no longer live, but we'll attend to them. You want a one-on-one session with him, talk to us, we'll talk to him, and then you can give him a call, or you can meet up with him. If you want him to also empower your employee, your team, because he's also a coach in that, a business person as well. So if you want him, he is available. Just talk to us about it, and we get him available for you. I want to thank you for this as well, because you're also for this. I want you to pray, and I like how you went and finished off with time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We don't have the whole time, but with this time that we have, we can make a very big impact in people's lives.
It's true. Sir. Thank you.
Some of us, we told ourselves that we want to see God's nation becoming better and better. Even if we're just adding a drop of knowledge, that's enough. Another people add another knowledge. At the end of the day, we all are going to be great. And I ask God to bless us all. Sometimes I'm going to see so that we can stop. If I start with these things, I can never finish.
Thank you.
Sometimes we can close.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this auspicious time in your presence. We thank you, Jehovah God Almighty, my Father, for what you have taught us. On this topic, Reset Your Mindset, Part 1. Lord, help us to renew our minds with the right information. Help us, my Father, to become productive and effective in what we do. Help us, my Father, to be able to become lifetime learners, to read right information, to maximize time. Help us, my Father, to change our habits. Help us, my Father, to be persistent. Help us, my Father, to be passionate, of the passion which drives us to be able to become fruitful in our lives. Help us, my Father, to widen our mental horizons, our imagination. We thank you, Father, because we are willing to change and we are ready to change. We thank you that Jehovah God Almighty, my Father, you will help us to tame our tongue and to speak the right words, to speak only the right words. We refuse to be afraid to start small. We choose to start small and end up big. We refuse, my God, to think the grasshopper mentality, to have a grasshopper mentality. We believe that we are giant killers. We believe that we are progressing. We believe that we are born to win, we are born to shine, and we are born to become great in every aspect of our lives. Open our spiritual eyes and ears to see the invisible so we can do the impossible. Him that is able to do exceeding abundantly, above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. Surely goodness and mercy is following us, the entire team, in his grace and mercy, all the days of our lives, and we shall dwell in the house and in the presence of the Lord, now and forever. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen and amen. Shalom, shalom. See you next time.
Amen.